OmegaMetroid.com is here. We're so proud to finally share our website with you, giving Metroid fans a dedicated one-stop shop for the latest news, fan creations, walkthroughs, maps, and of course, the latest episodes of the Omega Metroid podcast. That's not all. If you'd rather listen on YouTube, you can check out episodes there. And if you really want to take your Omega Metroid experience to the next level, consider supporting us on Patreon. You'll get access to special Discord roles, a platform on the website to promote your projects, exclusive bonus shows, and so much more. Memberships start as low as $1 a month. OmegaMetroid.com is the source of all this great content. So whether you're a new Metroid fan or a series veteran, OmegaMetroid.com is the place for you. Check out OmegaMetroid.com today.
And welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, and I am joined by my two pals, the two coolest dudes in the Metroid community, Dak and Doom. Gentlemen, how are you? We've got a milestone to celebrate. It's 1 month since the launch of OmegaMetroid.com. Pretty cool.
Sheesh. Yeah, wow. Time flies when you're having Metroids on your website.
Yeah, GG got him.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like it's been a really cool month. We've kind of found our rhythm. We've had a lot of like really awesome. I don't know if I guess success is the word. Our analytics have blown away what I was hoping for. So it's been really awesome this last month, and yeah, it's been a good weekend, man. A lot of good stuff going on. So how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. I haven't been on a few episodes in a while just because, school's been a little hectic. Job has been giving me some more hours, which, hey, you know what? Not complaining, I like making money. But yeah, feels good to finally be back on the podcast again, and I can't wait to discuss some Smash with y'all.
Yeah, I've been pretty good myself. Just, enjoying some WrestleMania this weekend. Got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin's first match in 19 years. Which was all pretty freaking sweet. I was also casting some Valorant this weekend. I was doing the NACE Star League Valorant Spring Collegiate Finals. So that was awesome. Shouts to Northwood Esports for taking that big one. Literally just got off the cast within the past hour, so that was really some good. I love casting collegiate esports, and Valorant's been awesome. And yeah, was been playing some Valorant recently. Finally started playing Elden Ring. Though I have way more time I need to be putting into that for sure because I'm super behind. And, of course, still playing Destiny when I can. But, yeah, otherwise, been booked up, bricked out, and ready to go to talk some Metroid tonight.
That's awesome. And, I've kind of been waiting to play Elden Ring. But I feel like it's going to be, like, half price in a couple months, so I'm going to pick it up then. I've been playing Tunic on Xbox, which is, like, just killer. It's so awesome. If you're like a Zelda fan, like this is totally up your alley and definitely something worth checking out. It's very NES Zelda. In fact, we're going to do an episode on the Champions Cast in the next couple weeks here, so you can tune into that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I forgot that WrestleMania was this weekend and like that it was a 2-day thing. And so someone pinged me yesterday about one of the matches. They pinged me about one of the matches. And I was like, oh yeah, right, it's WrestleMania. So I tuned it in time to check out the main event, and that was pretty awesome. Seeing Stone Cold raising hell gave me flashbacks to when I was just a young punk watching Stone Cold and Rock and Triple H and all those guys do their thing every week. I absolutely love it. But today we are here to talk a little Super Smash Bros, and we are going to be doing a kind of power ranking of all of the different stages that have appeared in the Super Smash Bros. Series that are Metroid themed, and there's actually not as many as I remember, but I think that there is like definitely enough that we can sink our teeth into. And I was thinking here, fellas, that we kind of do like a definitive ranking style. So we'll start off with the first stage, and when we get to the second, we can either rank it above or behind, and then when we get to the third, either above, in the middle, or last, etc., until we got our main list, and we'll get it going that way. Does that sound good?
Sure thing. Are we going to be doing similar definitive ranking criterias like that, or are we just going to kind of just do everything in one sweep?
Yeah, we're just we're gonna wing it. We're pulling our guns out from the side.
Whoa,
we're just
bro, we're not winging it. This is fully prepared.
Okay, well, maybe
Professor Dak
maybe
over
some
here.
of us are
Don't
going to wing it.
pull back
Some of
the
us
curtain
are
like that. Come on.
some of us are professionals, and the other ones just showed up to record. So we'll see. But let's start it off with the very first Smash Bros. Stage that was Metroid themed, and that is, of course, the Planet Zebes from Super Smash Bros. 64. Dak, why don't you kick us off here? I actually have a lot of fond memories of this stage, but you're a little bit more in tune with Smash. Well, let's see what you got to say.
Honestly, this is one of my favorite Smash stages, and it's on the top half of my personal list. I really like Planet Zebes. I was kind of disappointed that it didn't turn back up in Ultimate, but I guess they're like, I don't know, their thinking behind that was that it kind of is too redundant with Brinstar from Melee, which I don't think is true. They are similar, and certainly like Planet Zebes is kind of like the prototype for what we eventually get in Melee with Brinstar, but I really like Planet Zebes. It's a big map, and it has a little bit of that, like the asset at the bottom, but it feels like it has such a huge scale to it, and there's a lot of cool fighting you can do on it. It's obviously not a competitive map whatsoever, but I have a lot of fond memories playing on this one. It perfectly nails like the fundamental Smash stage aesthetic that you get eventually with the acid and the big huge background, and you get obviously all the Metroid aesthetics on the stage itself. But my personal favorite or reason, I guess, like why I like it a lot is because it's like asymmetrical, has these really big platforms that stretch across the stage, and overall it's a fun stage that certainly isn't competitive, but for casual play is really cool, and I don't think is like really bad in design whatsoever. Like, it's just not a competitive stage. Overall, this is actually third on my list, so I would rank it kind of high. I really like this stage. It has some good music too.
I agree. I don't know what it is about this stage, but I really like it as well. And it's hard not to compare this to like Brinstar, which was from Melee, but I feel like this is a little bit more like vibrant in a way, a little bit more like the colors pop a little bit more for me. And I just have like really fond memories of playing this stage back in the day. This is my first introduction to Metroid. Smash was my first introduction to Metroid in general, and to Samus and everything like that. So it kind of holds a special place in my heart. I think that the music is like it's so good. This is just like a classic Metroid remix that I didn't know at the time, but now is just like one of my favorite little remixes of the Metroid series. A lot of cool little things in here too. Like you can see Ridley in the background. I think you got some waivers.
Ridley's first appearance.
Yeah, that's right. So
there in the back.
I think there's a lot to really like about this stage, and like it's not modeled as like one for one as like some of the later Smash stages kind of became, where like they were very specifically like this area with like the same properties from the game. But I kind of like that about Smash 64, where it's just like a little bit more general like platform like fighter stage with like inspiration from these stages, rather than it's like the direct stage from like Metroid Prime 4, or you know what I mean? Like they took the exact whatever from Zelda and brought it over. Mm-hmm. So I think that this is a really good stage, great music, great little Easter eggs once you know what you're looking for, and kind of a nice little sentimental favorite as well.
Okay, well, I'm about to ruin Andy's day when I say that the music was composed by Hirokazu Ando, who is one of the Kirby composers. So take that for what you will, Andy.
Actually, hold on. I gotta interrupt you for a second here. So I remember I played a ton of Super Smash Bros. Melee back in the day, and I love the Kirby music in that game. I think that the Fountain of Dreams music is awesome. I think the Green music is awesome. So, you know what, I'll kind of dump on Kirby, but I won't actually dump on his music.
Okay, you know what?
I think
That's fair.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, absolutely. But anyway, in all seriousness though, yeah, I pretty much agree with all you guys. I don't have as much nostalgia for this stage just because Smash 64 was the one game that I never owned as a kid up until really recently. I didn't actually own an N64 until 2016, so I mostly just played this stage at friends' houses. But, you know, yeah, for an N64 stage, you know, it's really good. You know, you got the Easter eggs and stuff like that. You have, obviously, like Dak mentioned, it's not competitive, but you got the fun gimmicks with the acid, which would later become a little overused, in my opinion, with later stages. But, you know, for the first time, I thought it was really cool. And I also got to shout out the SmashCon custom combo competitions. A lot of the contestants use this stage and do some absolutely nasty continuous combos on the stage. And for anyone watching, if you haven't watched a combo contest before, it's basically like watching an NBA slam dunk competition. So much fun to watch, and you get to see some absolutely ridiculous stuff being performed.
Yeah, and it works well because Smash 64 is so combo heavy that it's kind of perfect for that kind of stuff, and that's why they do it there. But yeah, awesome stage. I think one of the best things about the stage too is that if you're gonna be really big, like, don't be boring or too complex, and this stage really hits that balance right in the middle. Like, it's not like another stage on this list that I'm gonna rank pretty low, but it's also not like huge and super complex and like too gimmicky, like a Great Cave Offensive or like a New Pork City, which I actually don't mind New Pork City that much. Great Cave Offensive otherwise but like this stage,
I think that's the worst stage in Smash.
No, it's definitely 75 meters, but I would say that this stage is great because like a lot of N64 stages really hit the scale like so well and are still really interesting. Like Corneria is another one, or the Great Fox, whatever stage that one's called. But yeah, like that kind of stuff where like the stage it's big, but it's not like boring, but also not like incredibly gimmicky where you're not even playing Smash on it. So that's what I like about this stage a lot too.
One thing that always struck out to me is like, so I guess there's supposed to be like doors that are on the ground, but they just kind of look like spotlights. I don't know why, but I always really thought that was like funny.
Sector Z, sorry. Sector Z is the N64 stage I was thinking of, not Corneria. That's from Melee, sorry.
You're right. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I think my favorite, this really doesn't have anything to do with this stage, but my favorite N64 Smash stage, I think, is Saffron City. That was such an awesome stage.
GOAT stage. I think I love Mushroom Kingdom, Yoshi's Islands, you know, a great one, but I think Saffron City and Hyrule Castle are like the top stages from that. Oh, well, actually Dreamland. Yeah. Dreamland might actually be the best one because that's a classic right there, and it's awesome both casually and competitively.
What was the Mario one that you just said? Was that the unlockable one?
Mushroom Kingdom, yeah, the unlockable one.
Yeah, the retro stage.
Not Peach's
the unlockable
Castle.
One was awesome.
But I also love Peach's Castle too. And Congo Jungle, all the stages in that game are great.
Kind of like I said, like that I really like in Smash 64 how like they weren't like and this isn't a bad thing, but like in later Smash stages, it's like pulled directly from the game, and even the fighters to an extent are like pulled directly from the game, and like their moveset and the stages are like exactly as they kind of are in game. But like I feel like Smash 64, there was just kind of like a purity where it's like, this is a fighting stage with like Metroid elements or Zelda elements or whatever. It wasn't like, this is like level 2 from the Legend of Zelda NES, and like you can clearly see that this is what it's supposed to be. I'm probably alone in that, but I kind of like that about Smash 64.
Yeah, I think one thing too is that it like at the time these were so like refreshing because like you never get to like, when are you ever in Pokemon going to be on the rooftops of Saffron City, or in Zelda like be on like the roofs of Hyrule Castle or something like that? Like Mushroom Kingdom is pretty one-to-one, so that's one thing. But like Peach's Castle too feels like so out there, but also like gives you a different way to experience like the environments that were in those games at the time, which I think was just really not revolutionary, but really cool. And I think now we kind of take that for granted because, yeah, we have a lot more stages in Smash, and so many games have come out since then where you do get to experience these places a little differently. And then, like you said, a lot of these stages are kind of, you know, not just taking from the aesthetic, but literally are places in the games, you know, so they're a lot more specific. Right. This is, I think, kind of best of both worlds. You have kind of specific areas that, you know, you get to go to, but also they're brought in this unique kind of style that you wouldn't have experienced in the games otherwise.
Yeah, I don't think one style like tops the other, but obviously we could go on and on about that. I don't want to get too much off topic.
Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that one does either. There is like kind of a purity, I feel like, in those N64 stages. So we've got Planet Zebes. By default, it's at number 1 right now. So let's go to, I guess, what you could call like the spiritual successor for Planet Zebes, and I think that this has been in basically like every Smash Bros. Game since, or pretty close if not. And that is Brinstar. And that is specifically from Super Metroid. A very similar stage, like very similar layout, except you've got like I don't even know what you'd call those things, like the little explosive, goopy things on the right side of the stage that you can break apart. The acid rises and falls. You kind of got this like, I don't know, Mother Brain-esque looking thing in the background. Maybe it's supposed to just be a big rock or something, but I always kind of thought that it was Mother Brain-esque. Chozo statue in the background, kind of cool.
That moves around,
I think that this one,
which is cool.
Yeah. This one to me is a little bit lower than Planet Zebes, just because it's like so similar, right? Like I feel like they could have maybe experimented a little bit more in like, I don't know, maybe... At this point, I feel like in Melee is when you kind of start to see the evolution of stages, going from like stages with like Metroid or Zelda or Mario elements to like specific areas in the game. Like you had like the Great Bay Temple, but you also did have some of those other kind of stages or whatever. So I feel like maybe they could have made it a little more Brinstar-esque in some ways, but maybe not like a direct like, oh, I recognize this hallway from the game, but just some elements from Brinstar in there. But yeah, I think that this is like a middle of the pack one for me. I think I have it at number 4 on my list. I don't have a whole lot much else to say about this. It's kind of got like the same music as the first stage, similar Brinstar remix. I think it's a little bit different, but sounds pretty close to the same. What about you guys? What do you think about this one?
So I agree. Oh, do you want to go first, Dak? Okay, I'll go then, I guess.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so I pretty much agree with everything you said there, but I do want to point out that Melee had an incredibly rushed development. I believe it was only 13 months of development. It was just it was back in the days where Nintendo crunch was very real. That's not to say that they don't still crunch, because I feel like that's unfortunately just a normalized part of the games industry, but it was especially apparent back then during that GameCube era. And this game was unfortunately one of the victims of that period. And so I feel like that it contributes to a lot of why some of the stages seem like repeats, especially this Brinstar stage. That being said, though, I pretty much agree with everything you said, because it's so derivative of that original N64 stage. Well, I mean, it's still fine. The original N64 stage was still good, but because it barely offers anything new, at least in terms of gameplay, it doesn't have that same impact. I still like the new theme. I think the new Brinstar theme, it sounds different enough from the N64 original, but that being said, I also do prefer that original arrangement done by Hirokazu Ando as opposed to the new one. Not to dump on the new one, though, because I like that one as well, though. But yeah, otherwise, nothing else to say.
You do have like the title screen theme in there for like a couple seconds anyways, which is kind of cool, like right before the song loops. Mm-hmm. I always thought that was cool, but yeah, not really enough for me to make it like stand out on its own.
I gotta completely disagree. I feel like you guys have not played these stages nearly enough, because Planet Zebes and Brinstar are completely different stages. Like, yeah, they might be. It is like builds from what Planet Zebes has, but they don't play similarly at all. For one thing, Brinstar is not only incredibly smaller, but the platforms are completely in different areas. You have the acid that actually comes up to the stage, so you're forced to move from the bottom platform or bottom part of the stage, and then you can actually detach the stage by attacking those little orbs or whatever, and literally separate the stage from itself and split it in half. Yeah, I completely disagree. The stage plays way differently. I really don't think, like, I mean, obviously Melee's development had something to do with it, but like, it's not like the stage is just a smaller version of Planet Zebes or anything like that. It plays like a completely different stage, and really the only thing they have in common is the aesthetics and the name and the music. Like, in terms of actually the stage structure and how it plays, they're wildly different stages. And I think this is the better version of the stage. It in terms of playing. Like, it really forces everyone. It's just like a scrap fest. There's no way to run away from anything. It's not really a competitive stage for sure, but neither was the original. And I think it's entirely unique in how the acid interacts with it. Like, Planet Zebes has acid, but like, it's essentially just gets rid of the bottom blast zone. This stage, it literally comes up and takes over the entire stage, if not majority of it. So that's completely changes how you play it. And then you can split the stage in half. It has a not a uniform bottom. I mean, Planet Zebes isn't very smooth and flat, but this stage takes that to a completely different level, and also doesn't have like the same scale and scope, and I think with good reason, because Planet Zebes can lead to situations where you run away or you're not really playing a close game at all. Brinstar, the action's always happening. So this one I had above Planet Zebes. I had it second on my list. I mean, it's a classic Melee stage. It's and a classic Metroid stage. I absolutely would not put it over Planet Zebes, and plays way differently.
So okay. I think you actually might be right to a degree, because like I mentioned earlier, I haven't played personally Planet Zebes that much, just because I haven't played a lot of Smash 64 in comparison to the other games from Melee onward. And so I'm definitely a lot more familiar with Brinstar than I am with Planet Zebes. And so you're probably right to an extent that I don't fully have an awareness of the differences between these two stages, but just at a glance, that's what it comes off to me. And that's not to poo-poo on Brinstar, because I mean, like I said, I've played that stage since I was like 8-9 years old. So I mean, it's a great stage on its own in a bubble. I just wish that it did more to differentiate itself from that N64 original, if that makes sense.
I think that's fair, and everything that Dak that you laid out is absolutely true. It's just I mean it's hard not to look at this and then you look at like let's say Hyrule Castle and then Temple, which is obviously a completely different.
But those are also pretty similar stages in how they play. Like they look like the differences you're noting between Planet Zebes and Brinstar are essentially superficial. The stages play very differently and aren't the same in that respect. Hyrule Castle and Temple play pretty similarly. They're both huge stages with different areas you can essentially zone in on and have like individual fights on. They might be structurally a little different, but the general idea of the stages is pretty similar. Brinstar and Planet Zebes, the idea of the stages and how they function are wildly different. So I won't agree there either. But
I would disagree I would disagree that those two are similar. I know we're getting a little off topic, but
they're definitely similar.
Hold on.
You're not going to sit here and tell me Temple and Hyrule Castle.
Hold on.
They're both huge stages with different areas that you fight on. They're absolutely similar.
Okay, but the N64 original has more of a horizontal plane, whereas the Melee stage introduces a lot more verticality and stuff like that along the bottom.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like they're two of the more bigger stages in each of their respective games, but I don't think it's fair to say that they're about as similar as those two stages. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. I completely disagree.
I ain't buying that.
I'm not saying that they're identical, but you can clearly see the general idea behind them is the same. It's just the different verticality. But I mean, Brinstar and Planet Zebes have completely different verticality as well, and they have also wildly different structures. But those stages are actually playing differently. Hyrule Castle and Temple play very similarly across both games. If you compare them, both stages, you have players that can be easily separated from huge swaths of areas. You have 3 to 5 distinct areas on both stages, 3 for the N64 and like 5 for Temple, that draw people into one-on-ones away from other players. They absolutely operate very similarly.
Buddy, I respect what you're saying, but we got Planet Zebes with 3 platforms in the air and a body of ground. And you got Brinstar, 3 platforms in the air and a body of ground with acid and the same music.
Platforms are completely different sizes and angles and shapes and are not in the same areas. They're
different angles and shapes and areas in the other 2 stages too.
But they play the same.
Dak's got his protractor out. I'm
just saying, they play. I mean, you really can't tell me that Temple and Castle don't play very similar. They absolutely do.
I can absolutely tell you.
Well,
that.
I mean, I can tell you guys don't play a lot of Smash. I'm not buying. You don't play a lot of Smash, here. Then is what I'm going to tell you. But okay.
I mean, they definitely share like influences with each other in like a Venn diagram sense. But to say that like it's similar to like what anyway, whatever. We're not.
if all of our listeners are
the
as
general
frustrated with this
ideas are
comparison
very
as
similar.
Doom and I are.
Like okay, but you know.
All right, Doom. Where are we putting this stage? I have it under Planet Zebes.
Do I have to?
I don't
Oh
know.
man, I have to be the tiebreaker here. I say we'll put it over because I do genuinely think it's on its own in a bubble. It's a better stage, even though I don't like the derivative aspects. But I mean, it's a certified hood classic, so yeah, I think it's fair to put it above.
Okay, I can live with that. Let's move on to the next stage. I can't wait to hear what stage this is like from Super Smash Bros. This is one of my favorites, obviously. This is Brinstar Depths. It's from Melee. I really like the gimmick of this stage. At the at the time, I had played Super Metroid and was familiar with Kraid, but I still wasn't like, I would say, like a die-hard Metroid fan. I was a big Metroid fan, but this stage I just thought was so cool to see this guy in the background like spinning and completely changing the way that you fight. This is one of the first stages that I can remember where it was like you kind of almost had to like survive the stage versus like survive your opponents. And I kind of got like the similar kind of vibe playing like Icicle Mountain and the Pokefloat stage, where like I think that element is really cool and it was really fresh in Smash at the time, because like, you know, in Smash 64 it was clearly those stages were there so that you could fight with other fighters, whereas this one it was like, you know, like I said, you have to survive the stage. And having Kraid in the background I thought was really cool. The stage itself is pretty cool, and the music is so awesome. I think that this is comfortably the most iconic piece of Metroid music in Smash Bros. I don't know if you guys would disagree, agree, or not, but I think it's undebatable that it certainly adds to the ambiance of this track. So very, very cool stage here.
Dak, you want to go next?
Sure. I think this stage is all right. The music definitely carries it. Kraid being in the background really carries it. And I do love that it's super unique, like having Kraid in the background, like literally like slashing at the stage to make it spin around, like is awesome. I think it's one of the better casual stages in Smash just because of how unique it is. I think for actually playing on it, it's not really great. Like I don't think you can really have a good Smash match. I don't think I've ever had a good game of Smash on this stage. And I also don't think I've ever played other people on this stage, really. I feel like this is a stage where like you play it in like event mode in Melee and you might play against computers on it, but like I literally genuinely cannot remember a time that I've gone out of my way to play on this stage with actual human opponents. And that's probably just because you can't, it's a bit too out there. Like it doesn't, like there's only so much of the stage that you can actually fight on because the majority of it is on the side or below it. Like, you know, it's spinning around, so you only really got a quarter of the stage at a time to actually fight on it. So I respect that doesn't have an outright acid effect on it, and I like that. I'm pretty sure Kraid doesn't actually hit you as far as I'm concerned, because that would be a little too wild. But I wouldn't rank it above Zebes or Brinstar. I think it's a really cool stage, though, and certainly not even remotely the worst of them, but I do think it's kind of carried by the music and Kraid being there, to be honest.
Okay, so this will be an interesting discussion, I think. So, I agree with all y'all, obviously. I mean, the music is amazing. Obviously, our boy Spire in the Discord is always talking about how much he loves the song, and for good reason, because it's one of the better remixes of Brinstar Depths, for sure. I used to not like this stage back in Melee. I almost never played it. And then Ultimate happened, and I don't know if it's like the introduction of 8-player Smash on this stage, but oh my god, I have never had a match that I didn't absolutely love on this stage, just messing around with 7 other people on this stage. It is so much fun. Get your boys together, just hammer drunk, just wailing away on this stage. I don't know what it is about this, but yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think this might be near the top of my list. Not the tippy top, but near the top. I really enjoy this stage quite a lot nowadays.
I'm gonna tell you something. I ranked this the tippy top. This is my number 1 stage.
Oh wow, okay.
For Metroid. It was between this and another stage that we'll get to, but there's something about the chaotic nature of this stage that I really love. And actually I kind of get what you're saying, Dak, because like you can't have like a good competitive Smash Bros match. Like this is not the stage to show off like your Smash Bros skills. Like absolutely not. And I feel like if you're playing Smash for that, then you're not, then obviously maybe your mileage on this stage isn't going to be as far as maybe your more, your more casual Smash players. Like I when Melee first came out, I like to think that I was like pretty decent at it. Certainly not a pro or anything, but I was pretty good. But as the years have kind of went by, I'm certainly more of like a casual Smash player now, where like I just kind of go in, I go to random character, I'm like, all right, I got Mr. Game & Watch, let's go. And I just kind of goof around and have a fun time with Smash. And like, to me, that's what makes this stage really fun, is because it's one of those stages that like is an environmental hazard, but it's not like a crappy environmental hazard like the awful Kirby stage, which is like so ginormous. It's like kind of self-contained. So yeah, I think that's what carried it to number one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of missed what I was saying. I didn't mean it as like it was a good or bad competitive stage, because obviously it's not a good competitive stage even remotely. But like, I don't even think from a casual standpoint I've ever had a good game of Smash on it. Like, it's not a stage I would go out of my way to play casually with friends, and I like playing Smash casually. Like, I don't know why there's a misconception that's competitive Smash players don't like to play with casual stuff sometimes. They certainly do. I like playing with items and playing on wacky stages too. Like, it's a video game. But even if I'm just trying to have fun and play Smash, I mean, playing competitively is also fun to a degree. But like, if I'm just trying to have a casual, whatever, don't care game of Smash, this is not even remotely on my list of stages I'm going to pick. I don't even think it makes for a good casual stage.
See, I can sympathize with that because, like, again, I used to, like, 100% agree with you. Like, I didn't get the appeal of this stage at all. I hoped it never returned, but yeah, after it returned in Ultimate, like, the amount of laughs that I've had in this stage with other people, like, I feel like is on a whole other level compared to other stages. Like, just of the ridiculous things that can happen with some of the missed ledge grabs in particular, and then watching people slowly fall to their death, like, that will never not get old on this stage. And so I think, is it a good stage? I would say probably mid-tier or not, but just from my the amount of personal fun I'd had to that stage, I'd put it at like a 9 or a 10.
I guess like that kind of goes back to like what is a good Smash stage, and if you say a good Smash stage is like how much fun I've had, then yeah, that's kind of where my mind was at thinking of this stage. Is like, you know, can you have a structured or like a somewhat fun match here? Maybe not, but just from like a staying alive, and like when you get like cornered on that one little island piece near in the bottom, and you gotta wait, and you feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi watching Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn fight. It's like, I love it. It's a fun stage. So yeah, I went number one on here. I don't know about you guys. I would personally place it above everything we have so far, but I feel like I'm not really willing to die on any hills for any of these Metroid stages, but that's what I got.
There's one hill I'm willing to die on. We haven't gotten to that one just yet, but I have this below both Brinstar and Zebes. But I have it at number 4 on my stage, or my list. But I do have it in with the stages we already have. It's at the bottom. It's below Brinstar and Planet Zebes for me.
Okay, Doom. Once again, you are the you're the hatchet man here. What's it gonna be?
Yeah, I figured it was going to come to this. Well, I'm sorry, Dak. Unlike last time, I am going to have to put this on top, both of the Brinstar and Zebes stages. So yeah, absolute blast. Really interesting what a reintroduction to a stage can do in a new game, years, decades later even.
All right, well, there we go. Okay, so for everyone listening and keeping track at home, our scores so far in our definitive Metroid stage ranking list is number 1, Brinstar Depths, number 2, Brinstar, and number 3, Planet Zebes. And I'll tell you what, guys, if we have time at the end, maybe we can each pitch a stage that would be perfect for Smash Bros. Based in the Metroid world. Okay, let's keep going here, and let's get to some of the stages introduced in Brawl. And the first stage introduced in Brawl is Norfair, and I don't know. I feel like I'm not actually that big of a fan of this stage, to be honest with you. I feel like at this point it's like, okay, like another lava, another acid stage. Like Metroid has more areas than fiery areas or whatever. So I was kind of like, okay, I think that the gimmick of like getting into the shelter while the lava is coming is like kind of fun, and like racing to get to that shelter is probably the highlight of here. But I don't think that the aesthetic is all that great. I think that the actual stage is just like okay. It's kind of a plain Jane layout. Like you got the 5 platforms, and I think that the music isn't very good. I've talked about it before. I'm not really a big fan of that Norfair NES Zero Mission theme, And correct me if I'm wrong, Dak. I don't think that they had the Super Metroid Lower Norfair theme here, did they?
No,
I
they
don't
didn't.
even remember, dude.
They didn't. They didn't introduce Lower Norfair until Ultimate, and it was the Samus Returns version.
Yeah. So this was a low one for me, actually. I didn't rank it at the absolute bottom, but it was second last. So this one, I don't know. I just feel like I was kind of tired of like the fire gimmick and like we have ice levels in Metroid 2, right? Or like any other kind of levels at this point. Like the entire Metroid Prime trilogy is out by the time that Super Smash Bros. Brawl comes out. Like there is more than just fiery levels. So yeah, I think that this was thumbs down.
This stage is ass, bro.
Yeah, I think we all agree
like
on
this. This stage is this was at the bottom of my list. I do not like this stage. I don't think it's horrendous. I mean, like I said, it's not like a 75 meters like a Mario Bros stage, but again, another stage where I don't feel like I've ever had like a good game competitively or casually on it. It's just like there's not like you're constantly jumping around because the platforms are so small, and it's not really a very intuitive layout to fight anyone on. But most of all is the lava, which there is the get it like hustling to get into the little pod is cool, I guess, but it really sucks when the lava shows up and you're like, oh, all right, I'm not fighting the opponent anymore. I have to go and rush over. And also the worst is when the pod shows up right next to the people you're playing and they get to easily go into it and you get screwed. So, or you get comboed off the lava wall, which actually it's probably maybe one highlight of the stage is you get some maybe cool lava combos, but that kind of gets old quick. I definitely, and that every like little, I'm pretty sure every platform has a ledge as well. So like from Brawl, if you fight like Meta Knight on that, like good luck. So this one was the very bottom of my list. This was 6th on my list. I agree. Like of all the like all the places and stages you could have had here, like Fusion had been out, Zero Mission had been out, Prime Trilogy had been out, Hunters had been out, Pinball had been, like all these games had been out. Literally anything else. Like we don't need Norfair. It's almost even redundant, I think. Like you have Brinstar, you have Planet Zebes. Like give me some other places. And I guess maybe they didn't want to go for another newer stage because of the other stage introduced in Brawl. But I think Norfair was just so like uninspired and lame. I put this at the bottom of my list easily.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Doom?
Yeah, so pretty much agree with everything you said. Not going to be at the bottom of my list. It's going to be the second to bottom of my list, much like Andy. I have a feeling that we both are going to share the same least favorite stage, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, this should have been a Fusion stage, straight up, because we already got a Prime stage, which I'm sure we'll be talking about next. Yeah. And then, it would have been a really cool way to like kind of, have both the dualities of the 2D and the 3D games represented there. And instead, they did a stage based off the Zero Mission remake, and you can even tell because it has that Chozo statue that pops up in Chozodia when you get the grapple beam, or not the grapple beam, the power grip. It has that in the background of the Norfair stage, and so I have a feeling that it's based more off Zero Mission. But yeah, it should have been Fusion. It could have been an original idea, but instead they once again chose to be very derivative. And unlike Melee, which was made in 13 months, Brawl was made in, I think, 3 or 4 years. So they definitely...
It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was delayed. I had taken holidays off work to play this game.
Yep.
And it got delayed, I think, not that long before it was supposed to come out. And I had to rebook my holidays.
Yeah, and pretty much, I also agree. I know a lot of people like the Norfair remix. I am not a fan of it, not gonna lie. And I am someone that does like that original NES theme, but I don't know. It just sounds... I don't know, it's too poppy for what I want in like a Smash stage. Like I want more of like a fighting theme or something that's more faithful to the original music, but this one just, I don't know, it feels like a pop song and I'm not really into it.
I feel like it just sounds like dopey, for lack of a better word. It's kind of slow and plodding, and it just I think, Dak, you had the perfect word for the stage and the music and everything. Uninspired. Like This I agree. This should have been a Metroid Fusion stage. If it was simply, like, imagine that it was the exact same stage, okay? Like, the exact same 5 platforms, but the background, let's just say, was the BSL. You saw the SAX walking in the background, and maybe, I don't know, like it didn't even need a gimmick as long as it was just like not another fire stage. Because like I was just like, God, like they know that there's more areas in Metroid. Like it's not like Doom where you're on Mars and everything's on fire. Like right, like so I don't know. This one is pretty bad. I'd be willing to agree with you, Dak, if you want to put it on the absolute bottom. I'd be willing to slide it there.
I wouldn't die on that hill, but I would. It is the bottom of my list.
Yeah, it's not the bottom of my list either, but I would be willing to put it at the bottom if that's the case, because it's really close. It's really close to my actual least favorite stage. It definitely, like, I definitely...
Right. Oh, okay, well, let's see how we feel.
I definitely get more emotional over this stage than my least favorite, I'll say that.
Okay, well, let's run through the rest of the stages here, and we'll see how we feel. So let's get to one of the better stages, one of the best stages, actually, from Metroid and Smash, in my opinion, and that is the Frigate Orpheon. And I feel like I'm probably not going out on a limb here to say that we all rank this one pretty high. And it was just nice to finally see, like, Metroid Prime in Smash Bros. And I actually feel like the actual stage itself is kind of like ho-hum, like the gimmick of, like, the Orpheon turning on its head is kind of like, whatever. But, like, the visual in the background of, like, the Parasite Queen is so cool that it kind of, like, carries it for me. Like, I think that the actual stage itself, the gimmick is, like, okay. I think that the platforms are okay. You have the one that kind of slides out or whatever. I don't even remember what music plays in here, to be honest with you. But I really love that Metroid Prime finally showed up in Super Smash Bros. And it felt like an eternity at this time, because the entire Prime trilogy released between Melee and between Brawl. So it was really nice to, like, finally get something from Prime in here. So because I think that the stage is, like, kind of ho-hum, I didn't rank it number 1. I ranked it number 2. I think that, like, so I'm pretty sure it's the title theme that is the music for the stage. Is that correct? And there's also, like, a Metroid Fusion mix?
There's also the Ridley theme.
In Brawl, the original rendition of the stage, it was the versus Ridley and versus Parasite Queen themes were the most likely. And then you had the opening theme from Metroid Prime. You had the Meta Ridley theme and the multiplayer theme from Metroid Prime 2. And there was one more.
I think you had a Sector 1 from Fusion as well.
Yeah, Sector 1 as well. Yeah,
it's Sector 1.
So
yeah.
I think Ridley and Parasite Queen were the most likely ones, though. And then Ultimate obviously had all of it.
So the Parasite Queen theme is, like, pretty decent, but I'm pretty sure that was ripped right from the game. Yeah. I don't think it was a remix.
Yeah, the new arrangement came in Ultimate, which I'm not a fan. Right. I'm not a fan of that new one.
And then, like, I think that the versus Ridley theme is actually, like, awesome, but it doesn't necessarily fit maybe as nicely into the stage. So, anyways, these are the reasons why I didn't rank it number 1, but I did rank it number 2. I think it's a great stage. Just like I said, I think that it's just kind of carried for me by the fact that it was, like, so cool seeing the Parasite Queen, seeing Metroid Prime. So yeah, I put it at number 2.
This is my favorite stage, straight up. It, again, much like Brinstar Depths, it didn't used to be my favorite stage, but Ultimate introduced the ability to turn off stage hazards, and playing the stage without stage hazards, I have an absolute blast doing it. I love the music that came with the track, even though, I will say, going back to the hazards for a bit, the obvious hazard was to have the Parasite Queen blast you with her acid breath or whatever. I don't know why they didn't do that, but again, that's whatever, because I preferred playing this without hazards anyways. That being said, yeah, the Ridley arrangement, this is straight up my favorite Ridley arrangement that we've gotten in any Metroid or Smash game, period. I love this original Brawl arrangement done by Yusuke Takahama. Absolute GOAT, and he actually did the new one in Ultimate as well, so shout out to him. And yeah, I love the new Prime title menu arrangement that Kenji Yamamoto did, reprising what he did from the original Prime. That was really cool. And, of course, Minako Hamano's Sector 1 arrangement as well, returning from Fusion as well. So you got the whole squad coming back together to do Metroid music on a really cool stage. And, yeah, a lot of fun. Absolutely love it.
Of course.
It is also my number 1 on my list, which shouldn't come as a surprise, I don't think. This stage is freaking sweet, bros. I love this stage for so many reasons. So just going back to Brawl, it's the only stage from Metroid that doesn't have acid or lava. So already, that's going ahead of the curve. and it's from Prime. It's at a cool portion of Prime. I love how the Parasite Queen's not even just in the background, but like as the stage flips, the Parasite Queen like crawls up and comes back down. The lights go out, which is so cool. You have really unique stage setups, and it's literally 2 stages in one, which is so sick. And, obviously the second transformation, which is a bit more neutral, is really cool. But even the first one, like, it was different, distinct, and asymmetrical. And yeah, you can play it without hazards and ultimate, though I really wish that ultimate just made it so that way you could have played it hazardless on the second form, because the second form is obviously really good. But, I mean, even going back to my Brawl days, this stage was a counter pick in tournaments, and I remember distinctly picking it all the time as a Meta Knight Kirby player. So this stage was really cool. The music was sick. The graphics look awesome. Like, the aesthetic of the stage, completely different from other Metroid stages. And I think the gimmick was really awesome. Like, yeah, like, I think it probably would have made more sense to have the Parasite Queen, like, outright attacking, but I think I think that's too obvious and too simple. Like, there's really no other stage that's like this. Like, the fact that you have to avoid the flip and, like, the alarm goes off and you have to time it and jump into the air. I remember specifically, like, there were, that was a whole thing about the stage, is you have to make sure you don't get killed by the flip, which I thought was, interesting. But also, like, you shouldn't ever really die to that either, even in, like, a heated fight against somebody. It brought a lot of cool different strategies without really making it too gimmicky or really taking you out of the fight. And it's one of the most unique stages in Smash, a stage that worked in many different ways of playing the game and wasn't overly gimmicky, doesn't have acid or lava, music is sick, looks awesome, looks great, represents Metroid Prime, and it's also an area of Metroid Prime that I think everybody would recognize too, whether you played it a little bit or a lot. So this is an easy number 1 for me. This has always been my favorite Metroid stage. Always will be until they introduce something from Metroid Prime 4 or something from Dread or whatever it is. And yeah, I absolutely love this stage. Easy number 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, that's great reason. If you guys want to put it number 1, I'm fine with that. Like I said, it was my number 2, but I think that Brinstar Depths is kind of a more divisive stage. And I think that if you were to ask your average Metroid fan, they would probably say that this is their favorite. And like, I think that this would probably be the consensus number 1 pick among Metroid fans for their favorite Smash stage. So yeah, we could put that at number 1. I'm definitely okay with that. Mm-hmm. Let's go to our last stage here. I'm curious to see the reaction of this stage, because this is the Pyrosphere from Smash 4. And I actually this is kind of weird. I ranked it my least favorite stage, but I kind of feel like the stage tries, and in some ways I don't actually feel like it's the absolute worst stage, but like there are a few things holding it back, at least for me. It's like another fire stage. Like, come on, like we couldn't have went to anywhere else from Metroid Other M, and I get that they were kind of limited because they obviously wanted to include Ridley in this deal, so they kind of had to do it where the actual Ridley fight takes place. But still, it's just like, come on, like another fire stage. And I think that I like the idea of having Ridley come in and like fight the fighters. Like let me rephrase that. I think the concept is good, but I think in execution it was just like, this kind of sucks. Like, let's just get Ridley as a playable character. Like that really, to me, it was just like, come on, like we could absolutely make this work. Let's just have him as a playable character and stop all this like song and dance about, he's too big and he's too whatever. Let's just get him as a playable character. They have the Other M version of Ridley, who I think is probably the worst looking version of Ridley. So yeah, there's a lot of things going, like there's a lot of stuff going on this stage. It kind of feels like 10 pounds of crap in like a 5-pound bag in a lot of ways, because you have Ridley, you have the fire. I think there's a bunch of other different enemies that come over and kind of I can't remember if they're stage hazards themselves or like I feel like there's just a lot of stuff going on. They tried some new ideas, it didn't exactly work, and for me it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, where it's like, all right, let's just make Ridley playable. Like come on. How hard can this be? Honestly,
though, like I think it worked out for the best, because if that was the case and then we got Smash 4 with Ridley being playable, it would have been Other M Ridley being playable, and he'd still be Other M Ridley, going into Ultimate. So as much as I agree we should have had Ridley be playable, I'm so glad in retrospect that he wasn't, because it would have been ugly Royd Ridley and he would have been some weird gimmick as a fighter, and they probably would have ruined him. So otherwise, yeah, I agree. This stage sucks. I think like the thing with first of all, this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, where like you have a big stage that is either too big and boring or it's too complex. And this stage almost does both, where like when Ridley's not there, it's just too big and boring. Like it's literally just a flat stage, and then you have platforms on either end, and there's nothing at all interesting about it. So you have, even for doubles, it wasn't even very interesting. It's just way too big and not fun to fight on because it's just so flat and uninteresting. But then when Ridley comes into the play, he's way too big, but like he's completely takes over the fight. I think you even, if I remember correctly, like you attack him and he becomes like, he like joins your team or whatever, and he like starts fighting the other person. Like he's not even neutral. Like he just ends up aligning with whoever does damage to him initially, and then he ends up fighting them. So it's, you eventually create a player advantage, which isn't fun. Or like he goes to the ledge and starts like attacking with his tail literally through the stage in a way you can't react to and can't attack him because he's so freaking big. It was, aside from the fact that it was so tilting that they didn't actually put Ridley into the game at the time, and they like teased it, like literally like, oh, Ridley's in the game, oh, look at that big shadow, blah blah, and then it ended up being a stage hazard. Like that was so not cool and lame, and I don't really understand what they got out of doing that, but like I'm sure in their minds, like, well, at least we have Ridley in some capacity. Except Ridley was done better in Brawl by appearing as a subspace boss twice and looked actually really awesome. So Smash 4, just, yeah. I think this for me, Norfair I think is less fun just because of like the lava and the stage layout, but I wouldn't be against putting Pyrosphere at the bottom. Just like at this point they're both bad and interchangeable, but I think this stage just commits the crime of being boring, and then when the gimmick comes into play, being unfun. So, and it's a other lava stage, and it's from Other M. So like,
yeah, I think we got to put it at the bottom.
For literally from being from Other M, put it at the bottom.
So, unfortunately, so a lot of people, when they say about their least favorite part of Smash 4, usually what I hear is either the physics system or Smash Tour. That's usually what I hear when people talk about their least favorite aspects of Smash 4. But my least favorite part is boss battles on fighter stages. And these things, they don't actually plague Smash 4, but man, do they feel like it. You know, between Pyrosphere and the Mega Man and the Xenoblade stage, you know, it's just, you know, they're decent stages on their own, and then you just have out of nowhere come and just ruin the fight completely. And yeah, that makes Pyrosphere just the worst stage. You know, Other M aside, I mean, obviously those are just bonus points at that rate. And then at the same time, you have all these random enemies coming out of nowhere, and you know, just like the what are the things that are like the that create the key hunters, the pill bug looking things, the pill bug looking things. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, you have those appear. You have bunch of other random Other M enemies that I can't remember what they're called, and yeah, the stage is just excruciatingly boring and not fun, like Dak said. I'm just gonna ramble on at this point if I keep going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the bottom. I think it's the worst one, personally.
Well, I'm glad we have a consensus there, and we can agree on that.
All right. Okay. Well, that is our ranking of the Metroid stages. Let's see what we got here. So at number 1, we got the Frigate Orpheon. Number 2, Brinstar Depths. Number 3, Brinstar. Number 4, Planet Zebes. Number 5, Norfair. And at dead last, we got number 6, Pyrosphere. I will say though that talking about these 6 stages, you guys might disagree with me here, but I don't think that Metroid has like a great Smash Bros stage. Like when I think of my like favorite Smash Bros stages, like there isn't a Metroid stage that is among them, unfortunately. And we talked about Metroid Dread and its potential for Smash a couple weeks ago and all that. So I think that the potential is there, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's gotten that fantastic stage yet. Like I really love Temple. I really love Fourside. I'm sure that there's a bunch of others that are, you know, I could name. The Final Fantasy VII one, I really love the Sephiroth's one. Yeah, I don't think it's there yet, and I wonder if you guys agree with that, or maybe if you would say that any of these stages are like some of the great Smash stages.
I feel like I would disagree. Like I don't think any of these would be like my all-time favorite Smash stages, but like definitely let's say
like your top 10.
I don't think so. No, maybe I'd have to really think about it since there's a lot of stages, but just purely gut reaction, I'd say probably not. Top 20 maybe, but I don't think top 10.
I'm gonna say yes. I think Frigate Orpheon is in my top 10. I mean, I'm definitely a little biased because I like it both as a casual Smash player, but also as a competitor. Even though, to be honest, it isn't even really one of the better competitive Smash stages. I mean, it was a counter pick and brawl, and it's not even used in Ultimate. So, but I have fond memories playing on this stage in Tournament, and I have fond memories playing on it in Ultimate and in Brawl. I really like Frigate Orpheon. It's one of the like more unique stages in Smash overall, and it stands out from all the other Metroid stages. I would say overall, Brinstar is also really up there. I don't know if it's in my top 10, but it's a classic Smash stage, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in many people's top 10s. So I would also say that that's probably a contender there too. But I think Metroid has a really big range of stages that are really good or, you know, favorites of people's, and then not middling and then not so great stages, which, to be fair, for any franchise that has a bunch of stages, I mean, Metroid has 6, that's probably pretty on par. Like, that makes sense. Like, I can't really think of a franchise that literally across the board has all good stages. So, you know, Metroid is certainly a big enough franchise for Nintendo to give, you know, Sakurai and the Smash team to give it a lot of chances in terms of stages, but also very clearly a franchise that, like, they're going to lean into the gimmicks. They're going to have the acid and the lava and whatever cosmic stuff they can throw in there. And that's why I like Frigate Orpheon, because it does feel a bit more grounded. It's different. It has a unique concept, not just for Metroid stages, but for Smash stages overall. It looks very memorable. It has awesome music, and I think it's a lot of fun to play on. So I would say Frigate Orpheon's in my top 10, but I also think Brinstar absolutely is a contender for a top Smash stage, and probably is in many other people's top 10s as well.
I think that's all fair, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we got about 5 minutes here left on the show, guys. So let's. I said we would do this if we have time. Let's pitch a stage that I think maybe we can frame it as pitch a stage that we would have liked to have seen somewhere inserted in Smash. So either in Brawl or Melee or in, you know, Smash 4 or anything like that. Let's disqualify Metroid Dread, since that didn't have, you know, wasn't out yet by the time Smash Ultimate finished. I'll kind of kick us off here and build on what we were saying earlier. I would have loved to see a stage modeled after the BSL in Smash Bros. Brawl instead of Norfair. Just like one of those stages where, like, the platform can basically stay the same, but, like, you could tour around the BSL. Maybe you can go sector by sector. You know, you can see Saris doing his thing. You can see some X in the background. You can see the SAX stalking. I mean, like, listen, Metroid Fusion is like, it's not my favorite Metroid game, but I do think that it's kind of, like, I don't know, it's kind of lame that it never got really any kind of representation in Smash Bros. Whereas, you know, almost every, I mean, if there's a fire section in Super Metroid or Metroid Zero Mission, like, it's in Smash, right? Like, so I would have really loved to see that. And they could have even put a little section where you were in Sector 3 and got to see some fire in there if they really needed to get that, they really needed to make that happen. So I think that there's a ton of different areas that you could choose from, but I would have liked to see just like an all-encapsulating Metroid Fusion stage. I think that would have been great. Dak, what do you think? What is an area that you think could have made an awesome stage at some point in the series?
So I'm gonna mention 2, just because one of them I've already mentioned on the show before, and that's the Artifact Temple from Metroid Prime. I still think, like, would have made such a sick stage for Smash. Like, aesthetically, it would be so cool to be in such a pivotal point, a pivotal area for that game. You have, like, the rain coming down, the music would be sick, and maybe you could fight on top of the different statues and whatnot. Maybe, like, they would be destructible and you can knock them down. Maybe eventually the lasers would attack somebody, kind of like Halberd style. So that stage I've always thought would be really cool. But aside from that, a stage that or area that would make for a stage that I haven't mentioned before, but we have mentioned this area on the show before, is Skytown from Metroid Prime 3. Like a big stage that maybe had like a bunch of different platforms connected by, on rails areas, like different wires or whatever, and you could like hop on one or the other to go to different platforms, or maybe like a big cannon that shot you from the farthest to the other side. I think that would be really
that'd
cool.
Be cool. Like the DK barrels, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so like something like that I think would be really cool. Aesthetically, obviously, would be sick. Music would be sick, but I think it would be another really unique stage that, could throw in, like cannons or, barrels or whatever, different like ropes and the different, sky trams and whatnot, like, and have a big stage with all these big platforms you could fight on and something like that. So Artifact Temple, Skytown, those would be my picks.
All right, here we go.
I'm with it.
Here we go. Sanctuary Fortress. It's a traveling stage. You go across the whole complex, whether it's the connection bridge, the Dynamo complex, the Caretaker drone factory, the assembly of Quadraxis, the Light Temple. When you go to that Quadraxis construction site, the platform enters a portal. You enter Dark Ether. A light crystal lights up on the platform. Anytime you get out of the crystal, you start taking damage. Quadraxis is wrecking havoc in the background. He doesn't actually damage, though. It's similar to like the Metal Gear stage where, you see all the Metal Gears just in the background doing their thing, but they don't actually interact with the fight at all. Similar thing with Quadraxis. And I will take my check anytime, Nintendo.
I wish if I had $20, I was like, one of these guys is going to say Sanctuary Fortress for sure. And if you wouldn't have, I probably would have said it after you were done, because that just seems like a stage that, like, man, that should have been a Smash Bros. Stage. I'm surprised nobody said Phendrana Drifts, though. I think that could have been a really great stage, and, like, correct me if I'm wrong, outside of the Ice Climbers, I can't think of too many, like, ice-themed stages off the top of my head. So I think that could have been really cool, too. The music would have obviously been awesome. Hearing a Smash remix of Phendrana Drifts would have been awesome. I do wish, as much as I was saying earlier, that like I kind of like the purity of like having a stage that isn't taken directly from the game. I do think that by like the time Brawl and Smash 4 were around, that they could have went back and been like, maybe we should revisit Phendrana or something like that. But I think unfortunately the time has passed on those stages.
Well, maybe we'll get a cool Metroid Prime 4 stage in the next Smash, or a Dread stage. That'd be nice.
Yeah, there you go. Here's hoping.
It might be a while before we see the next Smash, though, but yeah.
Well, we'll see. At this rate, we'll get it before we get Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4. Well, really, okay, before we get out of here, what game comes out first? Breath of the Wild 2 or Metroid Prime 4?
Breath of the Wild 2.
I still think
at this point, I'm just like, good God.
I think we're getting Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, I'm pretty certain it'll be spring 2023, and then we're going to get Metroid Prime 4 holiday 2023.
Yeah. For anybody who wants to hear some Breath of the Wild 2 thoughts, check out the Champions Cast. I recorded an hour's worth of me just being befuddled at Nintendo for Breath of the Wild. But that is neither here nor there. This is a good show, guys. I think we came out with the good list. Kind of ended where everything. I think we ended where everything should have ended. I think those stages are represented the way that they probably should be.
Yeah, I'm feeling nice about this list for sure.
I got Frigate Orphean to the top, so everything else didn't matter.
Like I said, I don't know if there was any hills I'd die on. I feel like the good ones are really good, and the bad ones are just kind of like meh. But we know that this show wasn't meh. In fact, this is a really good show, and we hope that you guys have been checking out OmegaMetroid.com. We are celebrating 1 month as of this day when we are recording of the website launch. So just want to thank everybody for visiting, for signing up on Patreon, all that good stuff. I talked to the guy who created Super Duper Metroid. We had a cool chat, so I have some more follow-up on that for the next ROM hack review, so that's really cool. In the meantime, we are going to get out of here. Make sure that you are checking us out over on Twitter at Omega Metroid Pod. You can check me out at Spiteri316. Dak is at DakCity_, and Doom is at Doominal Crossing. Oh no, I'm sorry, just Doominal Cross. And go and hit that subscribe button at your favorite podcast platform. Until next week, everybody, we are going to get out of here. Have a great week.